Hey there, I'm Victoria, a certified Christian life coach, author, motivational speaker, and university educator, and I am obsessed with helping you navigate through life's ups and downs so that you can live day by day in God's peace despite the many external demands on your time and energy. The Choose to Think Inspirational Podcast is about the delicate dance between God transforming you from the inside out and your personal responsibility for change, maturity, and refinement as a Christ follower. On the show, I'll help you connect the dots between your faith and your life in practical, meaningful ways while giving God room to do what only He can do, and so that you can shine your light for Christ and be better equipped to serve your family and help others around you. You can change every area of your life, one thought at a time. Welcome back to the Choose to Think Inspirational Podcast, Brain Changer. Let's dive in. On the Choose to Think Inspirational Podcast, we take two scriptures very seriously. 2 Corinthians 10:5, which tells you to take every thought captive and to bring it under the obedience of Christ. And Romans 12:2 admonishes you to be transformed through the renewing of your mind. In our Magnificent Monday series, we are going to take a deep dive into about 12 common cognitive distortions or filters that are impacting your emotional well-being and consequently your behavior. And why is this important? Because your thoughts, whether they're accurate or distorted, impact your emotions and feelings, which in turn have a direct correlation on your behavior and habits. If you want to change your behavior in life, what you're doing, you got to get to the original thoughts that are driving your actions. You've heard people say they feel stuck, anxious, depressed, fearful, and less than or unworthy. Well, we're going to tackle these sticky mindsets and put a bullseye target on the thought patterns and distortions that fuel all this negativity so that you can turn a new leaf in your life, find rest in Christ, and allow your faith to be refined. You're a diamond in God's eyes, and maybe it's time to let Him do a little polishing on your thought life so you can get on with the business and purposes He has for you in life. The Magnificent Monday series episodes will offer you bite-sized nuggets for change. You've heard it said that a single acorn is the promise of thousands of forests. Well, making an atomic change in your thought life is the promise of a lifestyle change that optimizes your physical and emotional health as well as your relationships. Let's nail down that faulty thinking to help you live your best thought life. And I'm here to help you, brain changer. So let's go. What is a cognitive distortion? In other words, how does the APA dictionary actually define it? It says this: cognitive distortions are faulty or inaccurate thinking, perceptions, or beliefs. Cognitive distortion is a normal psychological process that can occur in all people to a greater or lesser extent. Often, when your thinking is distorted, it causes you to view your life with a more negative slant or perspective. You may even be duped into believing outright lies about yourself or the scenario. If your thinking is distorted, you may begin to see yourself in a negative light, and you may even behave in ways that are based on these faulty assumptions. For most of us, distorted thinking is just a temporary state. Perhaps you too are characterized by acknowledging an event, something icky maybe that happened, assessing your feelings and emotions, and then moving on, having learned and ready to try again. Okay, we would call that healthy, right? Well, the flip is that distorted thinking, if not properly managed, can lead to anxiety, depression, and all kinds of behavior issues, not the least of which could be addiction. I love Philippians 4:8, and that's our theme verse, as it tells you to think about whatever is true. If your thoughts are not based on truth, you're really stepping out of bounds when it comes to the spiritual side of things. You'll also remember that the enemy of your soul, who's also called the Prince of Lies or the Great Deceiver, well, Satan's job is to cause you to doubt, disbelieve, and ultimately to die. Well, this is part one of the Magnificent Monday series where we are going to address the common cognitive distortions that are, kind of out there. And I'm convinced that you're going to find yourself somewhere along the way. I believe I have experienced absolutely all of these distortions, and some of them have plagued me quite a bit more than what we would call healthy or wise. So we're going to launch the series with this particular distorted thinking. It's called all or nothing or polarized thinking. So picture a compass and you only see north or south. You don't see east or west, you just see north or south. There's nothing in between. It's also called black and white thinking. You hang on one fixed color and you can see no variation or gray in between. This type of faulty thinking is also called absolutism. And you think of some situations in their extremes. It's all good or bad. It's success or failure. Okay, so let's imagine all or nothing Al. Let's have some fun. Yesterday at the office, Al made a spelling mistake on an email that went to his boss's boss. The rest of the day was ruined in his book. He ruminated over and over again on the typo and concluded that he would never be able to do better at this job with that type of incompetence. Or what about all or nothing Annie? She's not exactly a social butterfly, and often she feels uncomfortable at larger gatherings. She concludes that she never has anything good to say or contribute to conversations. Keyword to figure out if you're prone to all or nothing thinking in this case would be the words never and always. And then there's polarized Patty. She failed an exam and concluded that she was the most horrible student of all, despite the fact that she has A's in most of her classes. Okay, I think you get the picture. Well, here are two questions to see if you are prone to all or nothing polarized thinking patterns. Number one, do you have unrealistic standards of yourself? Do you have difficulty showing yourself grace as you try to reach your goals and have better habits in your life? Do you encourage your friends in ways that you would never encourage yourself? Often we can do that. We can be the best cheerleader in someone else's life, but when it comes to our own selves, we're just like, no, we can't do anything right. Well, here's a personal example. Almost every single day, I get my 10K steps in and I get my 80 ounces of water in a day. But I don't give myself grace to not allow those things to happen. Either I have to do all of them or I'm going to do none of them. I have to drink all the water or forget it. I'm not going to do anything. And that is all or nothing thinking. That is black and white thinking. These are thoughts that I have to fight because if I'm not careful, they can cause me to throw the towel in altogether. In other words, I just like, well, then I'm done. I'm just going to have all the Diet Coke I want or all the coffee. Sometimes during this winter, I've been drinking so much coffee and enjoying it and loving it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I've only had 10 ounces of water today. I'm not very kind to myself sometimes in that way. Okay, here's another question you can ask yourself to see if you are prone to all or nothing or polarized thinking patterns. And the second question here is, do you find yourself setting yourself up for failure? Okay, what does that mean? Well, it's kind of like I just explained, very similar to the first question. But here's another example. Let's say you avoid sugar, but on one day, your granddaughter brings you a home-baked cinnamon roll, and you enjoy every last crumb, relishing in this kind of gesture, and that your sweet grandbaby has shared this with you. And then, after everyone leaves, they're all gone, you're like, wow, I blew my health plan today. In for a penny, in for a pound. I might as well start snacking on the chocolate chips in the cupboard because the day is wasted. It's gone. So setting yourself up for failure is a type of faulty all or nothing thinking. Not only can it cause you to quit for a day, it can make you want to give up altogether. So those two reflective questions that you can use to see if you are also plagued by all or nothing or polarized thinking are these. Number one, do you have unrealistic standards of yourself? And number two, do you find yourself setting yourself up for failure? Okay, so answer those. And if you say yes, then you may need to try the next 4 tips I give you to overcome this type of distorted thinking. So I'm going to challenge you today, Brain Changer. Examine your thoughts for any type of all or nothing polarized black and white thinking. If you isolate this tendency in yourself, what can you do? Number one, redefine success. Zig Ziglar said this, it's not how far you fall, but how high you bounce that counts. Do you get that? It means that even if you fall and fail, true and lasting success is the fact that you get back up. You're reaching for the stars. You're trying. You're going after it. Good for you. And here's my favorite quote from Thomas Edison. He said, I've not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Oh, that's pretty awesome, isn't it? Well, if you failed the test, it may mean you will need to find novel ways to study and prepare the next time. You can examine your prep for the exam, the sleep you got the night before, your nutrition, as well as how well you did on all the homework leading up to the exam. Okay, here's another quick tip. After you kind of redefine success just in general and start developing a new mindset there, you can, number two, catch any self-defeating thoughts at the moment you think them. Practice what I call the delete and paste method. Tell yourself aloud, no, I'm deleting that thought and I'm pasting it in with the truth. For example, if you hear the accusation, you're a lousy mom, say no, and then report the facts back. I just lost my temper. I was tired and weary. This doesn't make me a lousy mom. I will pray and ask God to help me do better. And then you quote paste over the erased thought, I'm a lousy mom, the thought that I'm a loving mom, doing my best, or something along those lines. In other words, be kind to yourself. Number three, start focusing on your strengths instead of your weaknesses. Yes, you made a typo on a company email, but what about the gazillion emails you sent that were all grammatically correct? What about those? If you're like Annie, who struggles to say something meaningful in social settings, what about all the times people compliment you on your warm smile and the promptness that you demonstrate at gatherings? You're even known to be a great listener. So stop nitpicking yourself and instead compliment yourself on the many things you do really well. And if you want to learn to be a better conversationalist, take a public speaking class or join a local Toastmasters community so you can get better speaking on your toes and contributing to conversations. Number four, this is my favorite tip. When you find yourself engaging in all or nothing thinking, ask yourself, would God say this to me? If the answer is no, then you can bet that Satan is weighing in here. And if you do nothing else, stop agreeing with him in any way. Don't play on his team. Don't play his game. Remember, the theme verse again is Philippians 4:8. Think about whatever is true. So let me just wrap those 4 tips for you to overcome polarized or all or nothing thinking. Number 1, redefine success. Number 2, catch any self-defeating thoughts at the get-go. Number 3, start focusing on your strengths instead of your weaknesses. And number 4, ask yourself of any thought, would God say this to me? That's your challenge, Brain Changer. And if you want to jump on a free, no strings attached chat with me to discuss any type of cognitive distortions, I'm your gal. Just reach out to choosetothink@gmail.com or jump on over to my website at choosetothink.co for more information and to schedule your chat. And until next time, you keep living your best thought life. I love and appreciate you so much. And that's a wrap, Brain Changer. And listen, if you like what you hear, would you leave us a 1 to 2 sentence review at Apple Podcasts? Share the link with a friend or tag me on your share on social media. It would mean the world to me and would help us to keep shining the light of Christ and sharing the good news to others who are in need of encouragement. Please visit us on our website at choosetothink.co. That's with the number 2, choosetothink.co, to get on our monthly newsletter list. And if you need a guest speaker for your next women's retreat or church event, I'm your gal. Email me at choosetothink@gmail.com, and that's with the number 2, choosetothink@gmail.com. Finally, I offer limited free mentoring sessions each month where you and I can chat to help you develop a strategy for your thoughts in any area of your life. I'm a certified life coach and I have something to share. Visit choosetothink.co and click on mentoring for more details. Also, keep in mind that the messages on this show are for informational and educational purposes only. Please consult your medical doctor for all medical issues. Thank you again for tuning in. God bless you.